Okay, today I am so excited to be talking with Deborah. Now, Deborah joined the ADHD Thrive Method for Kids program to help a couple of her children, actually. And I have just been blown away about how much success she's had and how diligent she has been in working to heal all of her children and to heal them their symptoms naturally. And I really just wanted to take a few minutes today to talk with her so that you could hear her story too, because it really is wonderful. So, welcome, Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
Great. So, let us know, why did you join the program? What were you struggling with? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I decided to try the program because I needed to make a change. My three sons are diagnosed with ADHD, and my middle son also is diagnosed with ASD, autism, and they weren't able to participate in activities, in sports and leagues, even in school.
Mm,
They had a hard time. I used to get phone calls at least once a week asking me to pick up one of my children
man.
due to their behavior. So it was getting to the point that I couldn't even keep my job. And something had to change. It was getting to, my breaking point where I couldn't deal with all three of them. And some days all
Yeah.
three of them had a bad day in the same day. It was very tough.
Yeah, I
So
can't even imagine the three of them together. So you must have sort of been at that point. I remember back to when I was going through it with one of my sons, and it's just so stressful, and so much pressure. And the fact that, you were also at the point where you weren't maybe not even able to keep your job, that must have been so stressful for you.
yeah, really stressful. And I tried different avenues to work with them. Um
Yeah, what did
I
you what did you tried?
I tried neurofeedback, which is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh
Yep.
operant operant conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
therapy, which some it worked a little on one of my sons and not on all on my other son, and it was super expensive.
Yes.
um I tried just regular traditional play therapy. I tried, giving them all the fidget toys and, different resources,
Yes.
to help them be successful, and just nothing was working and making an impact. And so that's when I decided to make dietary changes to help support them.
Great. And well, that was a very good decision, it sounds like. Now, before you joined the program, were there any sort of barriers or fears or reservations you had to overcome before like taking that leap?
Um, yeah, I didn't think that, changing a diet would be so impactful. I didn't expect to see such a drastic change.
Mm,
Um, I wasn't ready to take on, taking out my favorite foods out of my lives. It
yeah.
was, I think it was going to be harder for me to change the whole diet than it would have been for the kids. But, um, I did have more time because of the pandemic to
Yes.
focus on getting different foods, and trying out cooking in a different way. And my reservations were just like, how can I can barely cook well as it is. How am I going to try with different ingredients? So
So true. I always share this story actually. Before I, really sort of started on this journey with my son, my family used to just laugh at me every time I'd come for a family get together, because I would be the one that would pick something up from like the supermarket, like a roast chicken or something like that. I'd never make it from scratch. But I can tell you, I am not a gourmet chef, and you can do it. It doesn't have to be complicated, does it? You know,
no.
How did you get through that barrier of going, oh my gosh, what made you just want to just take that jump?
Well, I knew I had to make a change, and I was willing to try everything I could before resorting to medicine. And I feel that I did it very slowly. I didn't just dive into it, and doing it slowly allowed me to feel at a comfortable pace for me, and it allowed me to say, okay, we switched from regular milk to almond milk, and we made some changes slowly over time, and I bring home different foods for them, and prepare different foods, and they really liked it, and so every time they liked it, I would remake it for them, and
Definitely.
half the times I wouldn't even tell them when we were cooking, that I wasn't using flour when we were baking
Yes.
or whatever. They didn't even know the difference. And I really got them involved with cooking with me. And
It's
I,
so fun. I know. And it also helps bring that family unit back together, doesn't it? And to build camaraderie.
yeah, and I think they were more risk takers. They were more apt to try new foods when they were part of the cooking.
Yeah, that's a great tip for everyone out there. Now, we all know there are ongoing challenges when you have a kid with, ASD or ADHD. What are some of the challenges you had to overcome, going through the program? How did you overcome these challenges? So, for example, I was speaking to one of my clients, and her son was like a super picky eater, and that was one of the challenges that she had to overcome. What was there? Was there any challenges for you?
Um, yeah, that my kids are very picky, and I had to overcome finding foods, that were gluten and dairy and soy free and dye free and all that they liked.
Yeah.
We went to the supermarket, and I said, let's look at the labels and see if it works, and you can pick out anything you like. So they were really getting into it, and saying, "Oh, I want to try this," or let's cook this meal. And so I think that helped getting them involved. But I they didn't want to give up their favorite foods, their comfort foods, and that was probably the hardest, like pizza.
Yeah. So how did you overcome that barrier and that challenge?
Well, we made it with different ingredients,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't buy frozen pizza anymore. We would just, make it at home. And then we bought chef's hats, and
Oh,
yeah, we made it fun for them, so
awesome.
they were involved in the
That,
cooking, and
that's
and that
great.
really, yeah.
And also, like, and I say this all the time as well, when you start to reduce inflammation in the body, their palate opens up as well. Is that what happened with your boys?
Yes, but it was super gradual. It was really,
Yes.
it took about over 4 months.
Yes.
For me to shift the food 100%.
And that's okay.
And yeah, and it was a long process, but it was really great because they were able to change their palates and their interest in food over that time. It wasn't drastic, it was very gradual.
And that's okay, because you have to give yourself permission to take it at the pace that is doable for you and your family. And that pace will be different for every family. We've got some families that come in the program that hit the ground running and just take everything out all at once. And that's not what I suggest. As being the expert, we would like to take small, slow, sequential changes to make it easy, to make it doable, but make it sustainable. Because, if it's
Mhm.
not sustainable, there's no point in doing it. So that is great. Now, what success have you seen while going through the program in terms of reductions of symptoms in your boys?
It was after about 4 months of the gradual shift. I was I used to get like at least weekly phone calls
Yeah.
for each of my kids to come pick them up, or they've been suspended. I have two of my boys had a total of 36 suspensions in 1 year. And it was pretty horrific how much of school that they were missing for their impulsivity.
Yeah.
And then after 4 months, when we made the switch, is when I started seeing changes. This school year, I only received positive phone calls. Like, so they called and they were letting me know that my son got 100 on his test, or my son was a upstander at recess and not a bystander and stood up to a bully. And
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah, I kept getting all these positive phone calls. Your son just won an award. And it was such a shift, from getting
Yeah,
negative phone calls to leave your job to pick up your child, to getting all these positive phone calls. And
that's
it's been
amazing.
amazing. And actually, also, their grades have improved.
Yeah.
Um, we have a 1 through 4 system, and they were kids that usually got twos. They're
Yes.
developing their knowledge, and now they're getting threes and fours. So I'm grateful
Amazing.
or advanced. Yeah. So their
Amazing.
focus has changed, and they're being more successful academically.
Oh, Deborah, that's so wonderful. And you probably would have known this about me. When I hear positive stories and happy stories, it really brings tears to my eyes because, like, who would think? Okay, you just don't think that you can change the diet, you can reduce inflammation, and all of these positive things happen. And you did that for your children. You did that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the best grade of all was the behavior grade was always a 1, the
Yeah.
lowest.
Yeah.
And now for one of my kids, it's a 2, the other child, it's a 3. And one of my children got a 4, advanced in behavior.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Good on you. A total,
Yeah.
total high five, pat on the back. So, as we finish up, I just want you to give one piece of advice you would give other families that were going to start this journey. What's that one piece of advice?
That I would try it, because it is successful. It changed my children. They even reflect on it and say they think they're a better person, because they
Oh,
can control their behavior now. And it it's just priceless to see your child, be the best person they can be. And it's worth the little effort to learn new recipes, and just change your dietary, and your supplements in your home,
yeah.
because it does
Oh.
make a huge difference.
And the fact that your children recognize it, I think that's the greatest gift of all, isn't it? That they know they're doing better and they feel better and they can, not be the ones getting in trouble anymore, because that in itself, that's amazing, Deborah. And Deborah, you have been the biggest trooper. You've done this all for your children, and you need to really celebrate that. And I hope that there's people around you celebrating you for what you've done for them. So thank you so much. Thank you for giving your time to share your story and help others in the group and, out there that are struggling with the same things you were. So I really appreciate your time and really, really look forward to see what your journey is going to be moving forward. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you too. I'm happy to share my story, and hopefully everyone else can find success as well.
Great. Thank you so much.